Why is it every time I start a stream, everything starts happening? Literally, there are multiple cars that just passed by outside for seemingly no reason, and I'm sitting here going, "Are you serious?" Like 10 cars. I was about to stream, and then all of a sudden, I was like, I hit the start streaming button, and boom, 5 cars literally just passed by. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, here we are. I'm gonna swap mics and hopefully it sounds much better. But here is the quote unquote new mic yet again. Ha ha ha. Because I kind of have to, unfortunately. So here's the old mic. Here's where the old mic is. The old mic was much, much larger than the new mic. So it's not the best. It is not the best, but I have it set up here where it is roughly about 1.5 to 2 feet away. So if I do lean back, it would be around that section, but it is a little different. Like I said, it is a little different. Yeah. Oh well, oh well, oh well. All right, so like I said, unfortunately, there are issues where I wasn't able to get any shipment of keyboards recently. I do have some switches incoming, and I have a keycap set and a keyboard incoming. But that's good because they delayed it specifically for the keyboard, and I didn't get the switches, so on and so forth. But effectively, I'm using this mic because I have to use this mic. It's annoying with you, but you get a little sneak peek here in terms of how it sounds. I'm pretty sure I don't like how it sounds personally. I think the capsule is gonna be absolutely fine for this specific unit, but I don't know. I don't know. It depends. Right now, I do have it out of frame, and this is normally how I like to use most of my mics, or have my mics, because right now I do have a mic that is long throw. So in other words, it's supposed to capture sounds from everywhere as much as possible. But that's that is neither here or there. One of the things I can do with the other mic, which is normally used for the keyboard setup, is I'm gonna make it so that it has a closer miking. But again, that's completely later, and just talking over here, I can actually hear the reverb. And don't get me wrong, being a streamer and going, oh yeah, I can't quite get good good audio. I have nerfed myself in the ability to get good audio by literally just having the mic out of frame. Like, I'm using a condenser mic outside of frame. Normally, condenser mics are kind of, for example, over here, right there. It would be about that far away. But no, as you can see, I'm not even close to that. I think that's what, two of these, two of these. Oh, dude, it's more than two. I am more than two fists length, extended fist lengths. Like, look at that. That's how long is that? I actually don't have a scale. I do. So if I did this, and then go all the way there to that section and not move, that is roughly, oh well, that's 1.5 feet. It was 16 and a half inches just to get over there. Holy moly. Anyways, let me do a thing. I'm not actually using the interface it came with because I want to know how the mic sounds. And in terms of how the mic sounds, this should be roughly where it normally would. Oh, actually, no. I do have some effects going on, don't I? Because I just removed the old mic and then put this one on. So I'm going to remove those effects. Give me 1 second. Boom. All right, so now we have zero processing other than just the gain. So this should sound technically worse. But, you know, it depends on how you set all your stuff. Normally, I would say this is not great. I do have to install the software for it, and that is a little bit of the ridiculousness there. All right, let me actually start the music. Let me start the music, because the music is gonna be different. The music is gonna be different. All right, we have that. We make sure that the speaker is not on, and we are gonna go with, nope, Nope, this one. Ta-da! Okay. I said ta-da. This game, what do you mean you can't play this right now? What do you mean you cannot play this right now? Alright, let me exit out Spotify and then go back into Spotify. What is going on? Alright, yes, I use Spotify, despite being an audio gear enthusiast. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of things that I kind of have to do, and one of them is quite literally... Oh, Jesus. What's going on? Oh. Wrong one. Wrong one. There we go. Yeah, there we go. At minimum, half the volume of my own stuff. Let's go, let's go. Half volume for my own stuff. Holy. Alright, 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 alright. Okay. Uh-huh. Oh, I just realized. Okay, so let's go here in number the top down. Okay, so we're on the top down. As you can see, it's a little bit different as well. It is a touch brighter, and we have this thing here. Hopefully it doesn't fall on the keyboard because I haven't reviewed it yet, but this is what I was using previously. It is a terribly heavy mic. I do like this. This is the AKG P420, and it's not the worst thing. It has this really lovely shock mount, as you can see. So if I grab this, and literally it just jiggles. It just jiggles by itself. It can hold on to that. Normally it's for the lower frequencies. I just bought one personally as well. And for this one, the reason why I did buy my own shock mount for the pencil condenser is for the keyboard tests. So for example, if I go into monkey type here, we can give this a good old test. Good old test for that. Monkey type. This one here, this one there. There we go. Alright, monkey tab. There we go. As you can hear over there, I will just mute this real quick. Alright, so there shouldn't be any music, but you might be hearing noise in the background. You won't be hearing noise in the background because we're using the condenser mic. Right now, we're going to swap over to the older mic, so to speak. Boom. Alright. Boom. Huh! An Eternal Golden Braid by Godel Escherbach. Alright. But as you can hear there, it sounds a lot different than previous. Because previously I would hit into the desk. One of the reasons I got this. So for example, you can hear that. You can also hear that. It's around the same volume, but this is farther from the mic than this. So if I go, that's the difference. So the difference here lies in the reverberations not actually going through the desk as much, because now I have not only this, which is a new little pad thing that I bought. This is the one from Orbit Keys. I've seen a lot of, and I do like the design. Like, don't get me wrong, I like the design and the idea. It has a vegan leather top, which I personally don't like, but you know, whatever. It's a vegan leather top, but it comes with a desk organizer, which granted I haven't used yet because I was kind of figuring out what I want to use for the desk organizer, because normally I would unplug this and then put it onto the side or whatnot instead of having other things going through. However, I do find that I have issues with my mouse every time I use IEMs, and those IEMs, these IEMs, when I listen to music while streaming and or doing anything else, kind of gets in the way because it's right here. It's onto the side. In other words, if I wanted to not do that, I can put a little bit here that allows me to just clamp it down, making it unlikely to slowly move to one side. That's literally it. But That is different. I really have to change this mouse. I do have to review this mouse as quickly as possible now that I think about it, because look at how it looks on camera. Just look how it looks on camera. It's just really, it's not great. It's not amazing. Like, I wish it looked better, but it doesn't look better. That's kind of part of the problem. It does not look better. Right? Like, look at that. It's crazy. It's just way too bright. Way too bright. Holy. Alright. Anyways. So yes, I do have what is called, I do have a keyboard coming in. That's great. Keyboard coming in. Again, this is just a yapping stream. Sorry, guys. The keyboard coming in is going to be a surprise because it's going to happen next week. Speaking of next week, tomorrow, no stream. I lied last week. I completely forgot that I have an extended work thing tomorrow, which means I can't do that. All right, let's swap back to the other mic, which is going to sound a little bit better. Or noticeably better, because you just don't hear things using the other mic. This mic is good, don't get me wrong, it's a good mic. However, there are issues using this type of mic in the environment I currently am in. Alright, swapping mics. Boom. So I'm back on the other mic, so I should sound a little bit better. But that's to digress. Anyways, I got too many things to do in too little time. I literally have one more thing to do. I do want to take a photo, and it's going to be a real quick photo because I'm going to do a bunch of things regarding that photo. But in terms of editing, I do have a workstation at work that has a lot of resources. It's relatively speaking high end. There are people at work that have a decent computer, and most of them are Macs, which means I would like to swap the Mac after Windows is having issues, because Windows, for some reason, Microsoft, I don't understand. Microsoft has come out with update over update that actually screws over the user. It doesn't make sense. They're doing it because they can. They're doing it because, of course, they can. Why not? Honestly, at this point, I'm better off going to Linux and iOS or Mac OS or whatever newest version of Mac there is. With Mac OS, I am familiar with it because I have to use it for work, which means I can just use it and it will be fine. Like, it's just no issues in me using Mac. And people go, oh my god, I have to use Mac. It's a computer just like any other. The file naming ways are different. Literally the icons are in different places. But I've swapped keyboards from regular keyboards to split spacebar keyboards all the way back to like smaller keyboards. And from Mac to a PC. And Mac to PC doesn't have the exact same thing either. It's weird. I can go from Mac to PC and the shortcuts are slightly, just ever so slightly different. And it's horrible. Don't get me wrong. I could just not have to deal with that. I could just request, hey, can I just use the Windows computer? Like, I'm getting tired of Mac. I really would like... I would like a Windows computer. But no. I stuck with it because I wanted to learn what it was like to learn Mac. And so far, I've had issues with Mac. Everyone's like, oh, it's so much better. It's not. It's not that much better. The way I use the computer and then the way I use the Mac is so much worse. I don't know how that was so much worse, but it was so much worse. And part of it is literally I came from Windows. I would go, okay, cool. Oh, what's the Mac equivalent from Windows, right? And I would use the shortcut. It doesn't work exactly what I expected it to, but it is the equivalent. I would search that up. I'd use regular good old search. Good old search. Not even just, AI help me. No, it's good old search. I go in. I look at all the Mac things that I could totally, definitely, absolutely be doing, and just face first into like dirt. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Although I will admit there are certain things that I do like in terms of how they put their shortcuts. Like, it's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. Everyone's exaggerating. Do I like it better than Windows? No. Am I swapping from that to Windows? Kind of, not really. I'm probably gonna now... I'm now forced. Completely and utterly forced to dual boot from Windows 11 because, you know, security updates are no longer a thing. I'm just gonna use Windows 11 purely for streaming. Because some games don't run on Linux. Because some developers decided no, that is not allowed. And I went, but why? It's like, it makes no real sense. Don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. I understand that Linux can play a lot of games, and I will probably try to actually run Linux. I am thinking either Arch or Ubuntu. Those are the two picks I have right now, and the last one is Mint. But I probably am not going to choose that. I'm probably going to choose either Arch or Ubuntu. Right? I could do Red Hat. But the three that I went with was like, okay, cool. It's been a really long. It's a hot minute. It's been, oof. Jesus Christ, 20. You can tell you're old when you say 20 years ago, when you were alive. God damn it. All right, 20 years ago was when I used. Was it Arch or Ubuntu? Yeah, that's why I chose Arch and Ubuntu. The only reason I don't want Mint is because it's newer than my previous... was it Ubuntu? No, I don't think it was Ubuntu. I think it was... You know what? I actually don't know. I just realized I don't know. I just thought, I looked at Arch and... what was Ubuntu and went, those look familiar. I probably watched something on it more than I actually used it because I literally used it for one occasion. I just had a computer that I needed to work. They were like, oh yeah, here's the best thing you can do because it doesn't work on Windows, and Windows doesn't support it because it doesn't have enough, you know, processing power. And so I installed Linux on it and it worked. And I went, oh, I have a working computer now. So that's the difference. That is the difference. And honestly, it's not a big difference. It's not a big difference. Looking at any of the videos that I've watched regarding Linux for Arch and Ubuntu. Why am I stuttering at Ubuntu? Ubuntu. Maybe I should just say Ubuntu. Ubuntu. That is one of the two. I think I might go with Arch because apparently Arch is a little more powerful, quote unquote powerful, aka more efficient, aka it does more things. But it also has the highest amount of things can go wrong, which is not great. It's not great. It's not good. It is bad. That is bad. But since I have dual boot, I'm probably gonna do a Windows 11 and a Windows 11 and of course the Linux dual boot, and then I'll just use Windows if I'm gonna be using a game that requires Windows for some reason, because Windows just keels over unless you do a certain thing. Unfortunately, like I said, Microsoft has taken the stance of we're not going to properly test our units, we're not going to check potential issues, and just update a bunch of computers and force things that are not good for the consumer. And it's only good for them, but for the consumer, it sucks. It's like they took features that are very good for them and things that would work for them and say, it's a feature, not a bug. And went, no? How about this is bad? For example, there is the recall stuff that just happened. I think that was a year, not even a year ago. The top of the year. The recall stuff happened, and the recall stuff is literally, it recalls, it screenshots your entire computer periodically, right? So that you can remember your password that you put in previously. I wonder how that's an issue. You know what I mean? Like, if it's screenshotting what you typed in a format that can be, you know, taken in, like, you can take it in. What's that? in a format that is easily accessible. Like literally, I get it to the point where, there is this office rule where you have to lock your computer when you walk away from it, because if you have sensitive files on it, you don't want someone to be able to, plug in a USB, pull the data, pull out the USB, and pretend nothing ever happened. You have to lock it, make sure no one else can use it. But of course, how much easier it is. What was the password I use on this account? What is wrong with you, Microsoft? And also, I don't see how recall is going to help when the search function on Windows doesn't even work properly. Don't get me wrong, I literally sometimes use this computer and I would try to search up Apex Legends. So instead of going into the games folder, looking for the shortcut, double clicking the shortcut and launching Apex that way, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't consistently find it. Sometimes I put AP and then all of a sudden Apex is the first thing that pops up. Sometimes I put APE and Apex is the first thing that pops up. Sometimes I put APE and then nothing pops up and it says, would you like to search for apes? No, I said local only. I literally went for local only. Yeah, but there's nothing locally. What do you mean there's nothing locally? I literally saw this, quite literally, a couple of days ago. I literally typed in the exact same thing. I don't understand how Windows, aka Microsoft, can screw this up. Whoever is working at the Microsoft theme, whoever is working with the Microsoft theme for Microsoft team, Jesus, for features, stop it. How about you make features that help the user? Like a proper search. And how are you putting advertisements in before the proper oh my, it is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. Windows by itself isn't the worst thing to use. However, you're making it bad. In general, it is not good. It is not good. It's just getting worse. And then, for some reason, Windows 11, they decided to cave in, despite being one of the most dominant, like quite literally, one of the most dominant OSs, or operating systems, on computers, to cater themselves so that it fits more the Mac aesthetic? Are you joking? Why? Why? Because you're like, oh, we can bring the Mac users over. No, you're not bringing the Mac users over. The people use Mac because it has certain things that work very well. For example, Windows has horrible sound management. It is bad. Literally, to get in. Like, don't get me wrong. It's crazy. It's horrible. For example, let me just exit out of this. Anyways, to get into, and I kid you not, to get into the settings for sound, there are so many clicks. I don't understand why I can't just go down to my Windows capture. Oh, sorry. My system speaker. So like, okay, cool, nice. It has that thing where you have the volume. All right, you know what? Fair. Volume, sense it makes. And then you have this thing where you have your outputs. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool, outputs, that makes sense. Outputs make sense. Okay, cool, can I change this one thing? And then all of a sudden the old one pops up. What the hell? But why? Why is that the case? There shouldn't be a case. Just no. Just no. Why would you do that? Okay. But here's the thing. I would just simply swap to Mac, and it's not actually that expensive. However, for work, I have a workstation, but no laptop. In other words, I can't just, do things of my own accord as I use the laptop to move around, do things. And one of the few things is I wanted to buy a field recorder instead of a capture device. For example, I have the Rodecaster Pro 2, which is unfortunately very good and very bad simultaneously, right? And don't get me wrong, Mac has a better what's it called? Mac has better audio input output settings, and it's bare bones compared to Windows. And here's the thing: I can take one source, one audio source from on a Mac. I can pick the specific what's it called? The specific application on a Mac and say, I want you to output to two devices. And this is directly on the. You don't actually have to install anything on a Mac. You have to just go into that setting and allow it to happen. You can't do that on Microsoft, on Windows, for some reason. It literally is. You have to download a thing so that it clones the output and resends it out. Huh? Like, if you look at the code for it, it literally copies input, or sorry, it copies the output and re-outputs it for most of these things. That's what it does. It doesn't go say, hey, by the way, just send it out. And you know what that means? That means that there's a delay. There's a delay. Meanwhile, Apple has it built in on macOS, and it works. I can't detect a delay. There is no perceivable delay on the quote-unquote copied output. But no, Windows isn't like that. Sure, I can just take the specific, oh, here, I want this program, that program, this program, and that's fine. For example, here. Nah, you know what? I'm not going to even give it an actual example, but effectively, Windows is very bad for that. Okay? And in the new Windows, I don't know who thought this was a good idea to change it entirely and not have the old menus available, right? Like, I get it. You can have detailed, verbose, and like, oh, classic. You can just call it classic, and people will be like, oh my god, I'm just going to use the classic version of the option menu instead of the modern. But no, they didn't do that. They just went, no, we're changing everything. And don't get me wrong, that is the easiest way to do it. That's the easiest way to do it. They're a little lazy that way. But at the same time, again, Microsoft just keeps pushing updates. There's a new update that screwed over so many users because guess what? It stopped talking to the storage controller, and that includes the one for your operating system. But why? Why would you do this? There's no reason to do it. But, okay, you know what? Later, I'm going to explain why I'm going to properly buy a Mac. I'm going to show you specifically what I want to buy. But I'll be right back after the ads. So I'll be back after the ads. So I'll let the ads run. And I'll see you guys in a bit. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I doing? Oh, because I'm out of yeah, my peripheral vision. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna be right back. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right. And Okay, I'm back. I just walked out and saw my good old cup of um avocado smoothie. That's more like a avocado juice right now. Mm. Plus side, it was so cold that it condensed and is not too bad. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. It is not bad. All right. Whew. Okay, what was I talking about previously? Right, I was talking about Jesus Christ. All right, so I was talking about swapping to a Mac, and the reason for that is quite literally that I just need a laptop, and the Mac is a way to be able to swap between Windows, Linux, and Mac quite easily. Jesus Christ, I don't know what's going on. Alright. Holy moly, look at that. If I go here, holy. Jesus Christ. Dude, that farmer's tan is crazy. I just realized, look how different the color is! Like, from my face, it's fine. Like, it's not too bad. But holy moly, I really gotta get burnt up here. I should take a day and just, tan it a little bit. I really should tan it a touch. Holy, that is what they call a farmer's tan. The same on the left-hand side, I guess. Yep, same on the left-hand side, pasty white. You can tell I don't go out that often. Can you imagine, back in the day, I actually went out in 30-degree weather like it was nothing. I was playing basketball in 35. But then again, I'm tangenting away from the Mac. Alright, the reason I'm getting a Mac is so that I can use a Mac. It's not about, oh, you're either Team Windows or you're Team iOS or you're Team Linux. I use all of them. I just do. I use Linux at work. I think it's mint. I didn't really look too deep into it. I just went like, oh, this is not Windows. And then just started using it, and that's literally it. I didn't have to dig. Most of the computers work roughly how every computer works. Right click to go into the menu, left click once or twice depending on the OS to go into folders and other structures. So that's fine. It's easy. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's scared, but all you have to know is click and double click and right click and left click. Oh, right click, sorry. That's it. And reading comprehension is great. You know that thing that says warning? People just freak out. They see warning, they freak out. I don't. But that's part of why I'm moving to Mac. Because Windows is stopping updates on the computer, and if this computer dies, I have nothing to work on at home. And if I want to work from home and also at work or the office, then at least I have a nice in-between where I feel like, oh, you know what, I want to work or I want to do some certain things, but I want to work outside of the office. I want to go to a certain place, and that'd be great, but still actually work, right? I don't want to take time off of work because I also kind of want to travel, but not really want to travel. By travel, I mean I want to visit a coffee shop. That's literally it. And here's the crazy part, all right? Here's the crazy part of me buying this laptop, right? The way I'm justifying buying this laptop. It is ridiculous and it is idiotic. Don't get me wrong. But I looked at the price of subscription for the gym. Well, hear me out. Hear me out. Buying a laptop and going to the gym. Okay. All right, hear me out. If I bring out the calculator here, all right? Calculator. All right. If I go to one of the closest gyms next to me, it is, all right, guess what? $23 every 2 weeks. All right? So 23 times roughly 2, and sometimes this hits you for 3, is 46, right? 46 times 12, right? That's $550. And I was like, I don't really want to spend $550. That's kind of crazy. if I go through this properly, like for example, 365 times, divided by 7, divided by 7, that is going to be 52 weeks roughly, all right? And if I go to that gym membership thingy, what was it called? Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I can just do it. Okay, yes. Okay, click that. And there we go. Here. There we go. Did I get that right? No, I was wrong. It's higher. It's much higher. Holy. 52. Alright. 52 divided by 2 is equal to 20. Wait, 52 weeks. Yeah, divided by 2. So, this is how I'm be paying 26 times because it's bi-weekly, right? So, 1 week. There are 52 weeks, right? Divided by 2, because, you're using 2 units, is 26. So, 26 times I'm paying for this. Alright, so it's a 26 times number. Let's go. Sure. A huge amount. I'm paying at least $1,000. At least $1,000 a year. And I thought to myself, right? Instead of paying $1,000 a year, I could literally, if you think about it, if I'm gonna have this laptop for at least 5 years, right? So 1,000 times 5, that is a $5,000 laptop. So it's justifiable because the one I wanted that is gonna last roughly 5 years with little to no issues, and this is not a guarantee, this is more of a most likely to hit that 5-year mark, right, is a relatively high-end MacBook Pro. And it's going to be roughly $5,000 after taxes. So it's slightly cheaper than the actual thing, right? The actual gym membership. How this relies or ties into the gym membership is I can take that laptop and go to a cafe every 3 days. And these cafes I will walk to at least an hour to get there. And I'll be carrying the laptop the entire way, which means I get to carry weights and I get to use some cardio. 1 hour? So that's what I was gonna do. And I can just buy a single weight and go like, oh yeah, sure, go just, weight training a little bit and call it a day. And that's it. I'm just gonna call it a day, buy some weights for about $100 to $200, call it, and just walk for an extended period of time. Get to a cafe, rest there for maybe 15 minutes to an hour after, order my coffee, do a little bit of work on the laptop, close the laptop and walk another hour to 40 minutes away from the cafe and back into, guess what, the SkyTrain, aka the commuter train. Yeah, we call it the SkyTrain. So the train. Yeah, I guess I could just say the train. That makes sense. It's not like the Philippines, LRT, MRT, CRT, CCTV. It just goes everywhere. Anyways, but yes, that's my reasoning. I can do a $5,000 laptop because the gym membership over 5 years would roughly be that much anyways. Assuming it lasts me 5 years. We're gonna assume it lasts 5 years. And I'm probably just gonna pay for the Apple Care. Because if I drop it, and I might have to buy, I think, a $200 dock to be able to use it at home. So I'm sitting here going, yeah, it's great, it's amazing, it's lovely, I love it, it's great. But that's neither here or there. And in terms of upgrades that I want to have, and I know I don't really do that much photography on stream these days, but I do a lot of photography, but it's not bad. It's literally the same stuff I do regardless. But yes, the photos, They look great. They look great. I still like the photos that I make. But since it's for work, I can't really show you guys. We just like, oh well. Whatever. Whatever. I do want a camera upgrade. So I do want an upgrade for the camera. So right now I'm using the ZV-E10. This is not the camera that you're seeing through right now. What you're seeing right now is an Obsobot Meet 2. And then this is the Tiny 2 is the one up here. So if I go here, this is the Tiny 2. As you can see, there is a difference in color, right? Like you can see there's a difference in color here. Like I am almost orange in this one, right? Look at that. I don't know why I'm orange. Meanwhile, if you look at the regular one, I'm not orange at all. It's closer to my skin color, but it is slightly paler, right? I don't get it. I really don't. I might have to up the saturation on this specific camera a little bit. Actually, I might do that right now. Do I want to do that on OBS or do I want to do it on the camera? You know what? I'll just do it on the camera because OBS does do that anyway. So we're going to do that. We are going to the image. We are going to increase the contrast just enough. There. 3. That it adds a lot more color into my arm. Yeah, that's about it. There we go. So a slight bit of saturation. We have a bunch of contrast going on, but I'm gonna reduce the contrast slightly. You know what? I'm gonna increase the saturation. Oh, I just realized I placeboed myself. Yep. Oh, I placeboed myself. Saturation, we're gonna say that's 50. Boom. Alright, saturation's 50 over there. That's not quite it, so we're gonna go increase the saturation on this. Oh, maybe we don't want saturation on this. Jesus Christ. That is a little closer to my actual coloration, actually. Huh. Slight desat? Okay, the greens are not popping. The reds are... Alright, the reds pop on this specific camera. Alright, I'm just gonna make the greens correct. And then be darned my arms. Oh my god, look how orange I am! Okay. No. We're gonna reduce that. We're gonna go 50 or something. 55. We're going to reduce the contrast a touch. Yeah, so the contrast is what's creating some of the issues. Okay, so 50 is too pale. With again 60 is too orange. So we're gonna go in between at 55. That is there we go. 53 I think is good. Sharpness and hue doesn't really matter. Contrast is 70. Okay, cool. We're gonna go to the actual other camera now. Boom, the other camera. Ooh, contrast. We're gonna... Oh, we reduced the saturation from 50? Oh, okay. Oh, because we were trying to fix the reds previously. Okay, contrast. You know what? I think 50-50. Just going to how the camera would normally see this scene. I think this is going to be fine. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best thing, but at the very least it works. Okay, so you know what? Let's increase the saturation and increase the contrast by quite a bit. I think the other one was at 70, correct? Yep. Yes. Okay, so I think this is gonna be fine. This is gonna be fine. I am way darker than I am before. Okay, but 2. So 1. No. 2. You know what? Yeah, sure. Let's see this. Alright, actually this looks slightly better. I'm a little brighter in certain spots. What I can try doing is I'm gonna do a couple of things. One, I'm going to increase the ISO, but I'm going to decrease the brightness of the lights in this room. And it's going to be a little bit hard because there are certain lights I can't decrease the brightness in. So I'm going to increase the ISO by 2 sections there. I'm going to increase the ISO by 2 sections here. Alright, we are going to decrease the light output. As you can see, everything's excessively bright, but I can't completely control that. So as you can see, I'm kind of fine, but my background is just I'm kind of fine. Even then, I'm not really that fine. All right. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, that's light number 1 decreased. We're gonna decrease light number 2. Oh no, light number 2. Hello. What is your settings? Boom. Quite a bit. So as you can see, I have decreased the light quite substantially. However, the background is still getting blown out. Oof, that's not good. The background is not good. I wonder what I could do for that. Actually, I do have a thought that I can do. This will decrease it drastically. Give me 1 sec. I just need a stick. This is increasing a bunch of things drastically, which is not good. This is not good. I can't tell. I can't tell, guys. There we go. Boom. Oh, okay. Okay. That's a little bit better. It's a little dark for my personal taste in the room. Don't get me wrong. I like it when... I personally like it when the room itself is much... how do I say it? Much darker. But this actually looks a little better. This is the downside of these cameras, huh? The downside of these cameras is that I can't do specific things. That's insane. Wait, I had dropped frames? When did I have dropped frames? When did that happen? Oh well. You know, things happen, unfortunately. I can't do anything about it. Yeah, that's not... Skin tones, that's fine. At this point, I literally just need more light towards myself because I want to be slightly brighter than the background. Slightly more saturated, honestly. Yeah, but it depends on where the face is, weirdly enough. So right there, as you can see, oh, Jesus Christ, that's a complete drop off. Anyways, that is good. I think we're good. I think we are fine in that area, right? We get this whole section. All right, but one of the cool things that I'm gonna do is eventually we're gonna have 3 actual video cameras. All right, one of them is gonna be a Sony Alpha C2. All right, the reason why I want the C2 is because it is a compact body. And I want the compact body because I'm going to be putting it in places that are a little more precarious and I don't need the extra weight. I'm going to put a cage over it, which means I'm going to have a little more bulk. And if it was already bulky, for example, like the A7 Mark IV or any of the A7R, and don't get me wrong, I was going to just shell out the money for an A7R, go APS-C mode, or go Super 35 APS... Super 35 APS-C mode, and you know, just use the excessive amount of megapixels to compensate for the APS-C crop, and then get a new lens a year or 2 later. But what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna buy the lens first. I'm gonna get the 55mm Laowa lens, which is a manual focus lens, and not only is it a manual focus lens, I'm kind of stuck. That's very loud. Wow. Anyways, there is that. Yeah, so there's going to be the... what is it called? The A7C2, which is going to be a really good camera because it has a high enough megapixel count, the 33, that if you lose half of it, it's 15 megapixels. And right now, I believe I'm at a 12 megapixel camera, even in APS-C, if I remember correctly. So ZVE 10 MP count, right? Right. No, I'm a 24 megapixel effective, which is actually better. Maybe I do want to buy the full frame lens for. Oh, Jesus Christ! Yike! That is yellower than I thought it would be. Same with my skin, anyways. So. Yeah, no, this is not great. Okay, what was I saying? In terms of the camera, the megapixel count of that, I'm gonna have the A7C2, which will, with my full frame camera, full frame lens, and the ZV-E1 eventually. The E1 instead of the E10. I was thinking E10 Mark II, but it's like okay. But it's okay. You know? What was it? What was I saying? Right. I lost track. It's getting a little warm in here, and I'm starting to sweat a little more than normal. You can see the sweat beating on me as we speak. All right. The ZV-E10 Mark II. The reason I'm using the the reason I want the ZV-E10 Mark II because everything is What is going on? Okay. The reason I'm gonna get the ZV-E10 Mark II, ZV-E10 Mark II, I don't go for like the ZV-E1 instead of the C2 is as much as I do like the features of the ZV-E1, which is a full frame camera as well. I would prefer the C2 because of the megapixel count and also if I double check here, ZV-E1 megapixel count. 12 megapixel sensor, effective 1, right? So it's 12 megapixels versus the A7C2, right? So the ISO range is roughly the same, and after that I might actually get is the the FX30 the same? What's the price? FX30. The FX30. Oh my god. No way. You know what? I won't get the ZVE1. I'm gonna get an FX30 instead. It is APS-C, don't get me wrong. But I think I'm fine with the APS-C. Because it's gonna be used as a webcam anyways. No, actually, I'm gonna take the ZV-E1 and use that as a webcam, and then take the FX30 as my main outdoor shooting cam. I'm gonna get the 10 to 20 millimeter f2.4, f4, not 2.4, and then I'm gonna get the Laowa 10 millimeter 2.8, zero distortion, and it's gonna be great. The only competing product is literally Sony's own 11 millimeter, and honestly the 11 millimeter makes a slight difference. All right, like it's a slight difference, and I'd rather be able to crop in a little bit for that stabilization. So I'm gonna just add stabilization and call it a day. And these have the FX30 has better stabilization if I remember correctly, and it is on sale currently, and I might buy it eventually. You know, I'm gonna buy it next time. I'm gonna buy it way into the future. And I might actually even buy it with the handle. Because if I get the handle, it'll be cheaper that way. With the XLR handle, I think that is a better deal. The only reason I don't like the XLR handle is because the audio coming out of it has a little bit of noise. The noise floor is a little too high. And by a little too high, I mean, if you talk quietly and you have to boost anything up, you start hearing noise. The moment you have to boost in any capacity, you're kind of smoked. So you have to go a little louder than you anticipate or a little lower than you anticipate. But if they start shouting, you don't have 32-bit float to catch you. So this is going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult. All right. Okay. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna probably do because I get a video cam, I'll get a photo cam, and I have my hybrid cam, FX30 ZVE1, and oh my god, I can just sell my kitlins. That's great. I just sell away my kitlins, just throw it away like it's nothing. That's all it is. Throw away the kit lens. And then I use the macro lens or something crazy. Because I can just use the 10 to 20 as the actual talking head stuff as much as people go, oh my god, it's not great when it's a F4. The F4 is fine, dude. Just stick with F4 and keep it wide open if you're in a 10 to 20. You want the flexibility. The only other one I would be able to use is a 16 to 35, even with the APS-C crop. Because that's almost the equivalent of a 24 to 70, and that's not too bad. Don't get me wrong. It is not too bad. Okay. Yes. But yeah, no, I think I am just going to get that. The FX30, then going to get the... After the FX30, I'm going to get... No, actually not the C2, the A7 C2, with the Laowa 55mm. I'm going to get the 55mm first, and then get the C2. That's probably sometime next year. And then I'm gonna go with a video camera lens. So I'm gonna buy another full frame lens, but I'm gonna get it for an APS-C camera, so that's fine. So the full frame lens is going to be the 10mm from Laowa, and that's literally it. I'll just use the 10mm on the quote-unquote vlog lens, and it'll be fine. It'll be great. I could actually just get the 11 for APS-C, but why not have the full frame while you're at it? Well, not to have the full frame. Anyways, it's time for me to go. This is my first Just Chat. Oh, wait, no, it's not my first Just Chatting. This is going to be one of the few Just Chatting Oh my god, I'm not good at this. This is going to be one of the few Just Chatting streams that's happening recently because I literally didn't have all of the keyboard parts. They are just not here. They're not in time for any of this, which means instead of building a keyboard, I am stuck here doing this, and I might just buy switches. It's gonna be expensive because I'm gonna be spending about $200 to $400 on switches because I realized that all of my keyboards just have switches in them, which means I don't actually have switches to use. Right? So it's not good. It's not great. Anyways, I'm gonna see you guys next time. Tomorrow again, just a reminder, there is no stream tomorrow because I have a work thing, which unfortunately means no stream. I'll try, we'll see if we can, but chances are no. And then on Wednesday, we are gonna finish off Spyro's first level. I said finish off and I just had to trail that off. Anyways, see you guys next time. Make sure to have a nice one. Bye. Oh, jeez.